Y'all know the vibes. Reasons to podcast. You heard?
You need some redemption right now. I swear down. You gotta get back. Shit. No, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But obviously, people, welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, we record him.
Come on. I like to just,
sorry.
you know, make sure that people don't know it's already recording. But yes, people, welcome back. It's another rendition of the Reasons to podcast. Got an amazing guest today. Her name is not Aliyah. It's not. What's the other ways? I think people ever say Aliyah.
No, my young people say Aliyah.
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 It's Aliyah. There you
Aliyah
go.
Ali.
Ali or Ali?
Aliyah Ali.
Aliyah
That's my
Ali.
full name. Yeah.
Yes, we got Aliyah Ali here. An amazing young lady. I know how old you are, by the way. I had to do my extra research. Amazing young lady here, man. She got an amazing story. And I've been looking for somebody like Aliyah to just speak to for a very long time because her background is just something that you won't believe. I mean, like, straight away, like when somebody looks at you, I'm sure they assume 101 things, and it's never the path that you've actually been on. Especially for me, like that's what caught me off guard. I think I was even I was up mad late, and I just see that I just heard like saw on the Explorer page, I heard you talk, and then I was hearing the thing you said. I was like, wait, what the fuck did she say? And you killed the hair. Let's not forget.
You like it. That's my natural look.
Yeah, no, you killed that look. You killed that look. But obviously, introduce yourself a little bit. Let the people know a little bit about you.
So my name's Aliyah Ali. I'm the founder of a movement that I created in 2017 called Daddyless Daughters.
Yes, wicked.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with that, how did you come around to even creating Daddyless Daughters?
Well, like you said, I've been on one hell of a journey throughout my life. And well, firstly, started off like with the things that I'd seen in my house.
Yeah.
My mum, she was adopted. So
Okay.
we didn't have like...
Was that your
biological mum,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
She's adopted. So we didn't have no connection to like our blood family on her side. And I'd never met any of my dad's relatives either.
And where are you guys from, country-wise?
My dad is from Zambia and my mum's English.
Okay, cool.
We don't technically like know the ins and outs of like her pathology.
Yeah.
But that's because we still like she's still figuring it out really.
Yeah.
But so kind of I didn't really see all of us have different dads. So I didn't have like a constant relationship with my dad. My older sister had more of a relationship with my dad.
How many siblings?
3.
Okay, cool.
So we never met my sister's dad at
Yep.
all. Never seen him. She's never seen him or met him either.
Were you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle child.
Okay, cool.
So by the time my dad comes on the scene, she has more of a relationship with my dad than I did. Then by the time he left, I had more of a relationship with my brother's dad than my brother does now.
Okay.
So this kind of caused identity when we was growing up,
yeah.
issues like, you know, where do we belong? Who are we? We all come from different countries in Africa too. So like, I'm Zambian, my older sister's Nigerian, my little brother's Ghanaian.
Crazy.
So yeah, like we had like so many different complications around that. And then my mom got in an abusive relationship with my little brother's dad. And like the things that we witnessed at that age were like crazy for us to see. And then that all got spiraled out of control, and that resulted in me ended up in care. When I ended up in care, me and my sister's relationship broke down. My relationship with my family broke down. And that was just probably the period in my life where I felt the most isolated and alone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I say that, but then I also lived in a house with my siblings and my family, and I still didn't feel like I belonged there either.
Yeah.
Because of all the chaos and the abuse and stuff that was going on
How old
in
are
the
you
house.
around these times?
So around these times, by the time I end up in care, I'm around 13, 14.
Okay.
But I still can't even get the ages on point because there's memory blocks when you deal with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So like I'm still going through therapy now, and I'm still having to like piece together the pieces of my life. I don't even remember birthdays and like good things that happened in our childhood. My sister will try to bring it up, my mum will try, and it annoys them. But I'm like, there's blockages that I can't remember past a certain age. I probably can't remember past I was like 8. Before I was like 8.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I ended up in care, and yeah, that's kind of where my journey began in terms of being groomed and approached by like older boys older people in my community, they could tell, like, my children's home was literally in the middle of an estate.
What state was that?
Crane Estate. No, first children's home was in Bermondsey.
That's all south, I'm assuming, right? It sounds like it.
Yeah, Southeast London. I can't remember the name of the estate that was around my first children's home in Bermondsey.
Yeah.
Second children's home, sorry, I keep knocking this.
It's all good.
Second children's home was Peckham, and surrounded by the Crane Estate.
Okay.
Basically just off Southampton Way. But the estate that I came from was kind of linked. The people from the estate that I came from were linked to the grooming and where I was going in my teens.
Linked to the grooming?
Yeah.
But was that a thing that was known?
I don't know, innit? I don't think, it took a long time for me to accept I was groomed.
Okay.
And I don't think my peers even knew they were grooming me. But it was because I now started going on that professional journey, and I started to understand what grooming is and how to tackle it from a professional point of view.
Yeah.
I had to be real with myself and know that I was groomed. The relationships, the friendships that broke down was just evidence that it was a grooming process, if that makes sense. Because if you really check for somebody and you really care about somebody, you don't just exploit them or exploit their situation and then disappear.
Yeah.
Which is what that was the pattern that kept happening in my teens.
I'm assuming these men were like, or men and women possibly.
Men, and there was one older girl.
Yeah.
But not really women, no. Just mainly older boys and older men. And then I also groomed other girls to get involved as well in the stuff that we was involved in. And then kind of, when you're a child and you're in care, you're like the first to get a flat. So I'm 15, 16, getting a flat.
At what age?
15, 16.
15, 16. You know
I've got my first flat.
I'm sorry to cut you off, because obviously I work as a support worker for social services, so I'm in care homes all the time.
Okay.
And there's no way we'll give away someone a full yard at 16. No, because the difference is now from 16 to 18, you have to still be
in supported housing.
And then you get into semi-independent, obviously from 18 onwards. But you've got a house to your own at 16. Yeah, that's crazy still.
So sometimes, like, I think, I'm not even sure if back then they had supported accommodation like what they have now for the 16 to 18-year-olds. That was never an option. That wasn't offered to me. And I do remember saying to my social worker, like, I'm not ready. I don't want to go, like, into a flat. And I was, like, I wasn't fearful, but I also knew I would be out here alone and not be able to kind of control the situations that would happen. But then on the other side, there was the most dominant side of me. That was my inner child. The most dominant side of me was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm ready. Like, I thought that I was older than I was. I wasn't ready to make certain decisions.
And to be honest, when we get to that age, especially because you're solo, you're independent, you're thinking, yeah, you know what, fuck it. Like, you're going to feel like you own shit and you're in charge.
Exactly. But it's a facade.
Yeah, it's a facade. And you can't see the bigger picture. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
so 15, 16, get my first flat. And yeah, that's just when, like, around that time as well in Peckham, like, loads of gang stuff was like spiraling out of control, and we was in the thick of that. So shootings were happening outside my house. People were running up in my house, like, doing all kinds of things. And I moved. I remember going back to social service saying, like, look, I can't be in this environment. It's getting dangerous. Whatever. They just moved me to the other side of Peckham. Things kept spiraling out of control, and this went on for about a year and a half, until I ended up living in B&Bs for about 9 months across, like, Southeast London. By the time I turned 18, I was then sentenced and then put into prison.
And how long did you do at 18?
So I went to prison 18. I did about 2.5 years. I did time on remand, and then by the time I got sentenced, I got a 4-year custodial sentence and then had to complete the other 2 years.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, what did you go inside for?
Possession of intent to supply, Class A.
Okay. So, and would you say that, like, of course, like, it was one of the situations, just like county lines, where you get, like, guys that obviously show you, like, oh yeah, like, all you got to do is this, and then you're going to earn this amount, and of course that's what lured you in, I'm assuming.
I think that's definitely what lured me into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
However, by the time I was 18, I was too big for my boots by the time I was 18. And I originally was arrested for assisting a murder and 2 attempted murders, possession of ammunition.
Yeah.
So the trident that came for me at that time, they didn't give a damn about the drugs that they found and everything else they found around me. The guys that I was involved in were all being arrested for murders. So they was linking me to that. I was on bail. I originally got arrested when I was 17. I was on bail for a year, signing on at police stations, living in B&Bs, all of that. So then all the other cases got dropped, and the only thing they could charge me with was possession of intent to supply.
Crazy.
So yeah, that's what I mean about, you know, grooming, is when you make those decisions as a kid, you don't understand the lifestyle you're actually getting into until things start spiraling out of control, and then things get even more dangerous and more dangerous and more dangerous. And yeah, the guy that was linked on that case, he ended up getting like 36 years.
And that's see this is what I mean by like you wouldn't expect half of the things that you're saying, but I fucking respect it. And obviously you've gone through what you've gone through, and you've come out and you are who you are today.
Yeah.
And if you had like any advice to give to that, let's say 14 to 13-year-old you, like what would you say? Because of course I'm sure there's some young girls right now in your current position, well, in the position that you was before, and there could be something that they could possibly learn.
I don't know, man, because the more that I do the work that I do with the daddyless daughters and the girls, it's like you can't tell somebody what their life lessons are. Do you get what I'm saying? They got to go through it. They got to feel it, like, and then they have to process it and reflect on it and take their own life lessons and apply it accordingly. So I don't necessarily feel it's right for us to, especially this day and age that we're in, where everybody's sharing their opinions and stuff, for us to put our life experiences onto other people, especially the younger girls. But I would say, you know, be mindful. Don't make friends of people that are older than you. Don't get involved in worlds that you know nothing about, and just keep your innocence for as long as possible. No, that's what I would say.
And you know, like at 18, so you came out at 20. And
was it 20, 21?
21? Yeah, around that time. What things did you find hard to get back into society as when you come back out of prison? Because of course, everything. I'm sure.
Because I was a care leaver. So when I came home, I didn't have nothing. I was homeless for like 2 weeks. And then after I went back to social service, and I said to social service, I swear you guys are responsible for me. Like, what's going on? I'm supposed to have somewhere to live. And they gave me a bidding number. So then I started bidding. I got my flat quite rapidly after that. Then my flat, like, I don't have money to put flooring in my flat. I don't have money to buy curtains. I don't have family that come from money. I've never seen my mum work a day in her life. Like, I didn't know what to do at that stage. And that was a very depressive stage in my life. And I reverted back to what I knew, because that was the only way I knew how to survive and make money. And I remember I went, because I used to do county lines.
Yeah.
So I went to one place where I was in with one girl. I was in prison with a girl. I went to her town.
Yeah.
I contacted her because I remember she was telling me like loads of stories about her area, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to come to her town and I'm going to set up shop. So I went to her area, and this girl would not stop talking to me every night when I got back to her house about how I need to change my life. And then one day the penny just dropped. My heart weren't in it anyway. And she was like, just go on the journey. I'll show you how to apply for uni. I'll show you how to put together a CV. Like, I'll be with you every step of the way. But like, just stop this. Like, you have so much more potential.
And this same one girl was in prison with you at the time too.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And I remember like nights when I just didn't. I was like, I tried the uni thing. It weren't working. Obviously, I had more responsibility than anybody my age would have and any of my peers would have. And it was like, I was trying not to form relationships with people that was older than me, but it's like, who's going to guide me through this? Who can actually teach me how to evolve and develop and progress in life? But my peers were unable to do that because they're still living at home. They don't even do their own washing.
Exactly.
And they can't show me how to pay my council tax, how to do this, how to do that.
Facts.
So I was going through it at that time. And I remember there's nights when I was crying to her on FaceTime, like it was a proper internal struggle. And then that's when I met personal development. And like I just started to get obsessed with personal development. And I started to understand, hold on, these are fear barriers. These are things that I can actually overcome, that I can break through if I just develop my mind and I figure out how to control the way I'm thinking, the way I'm processing and my perception of everything that's going on around me. We just started that journey. And then that's when I decided, you know what, the role that I played in prison and the relationships that I built in prison with these girls, I want to be able to develop that. So I went back to social service. I asked them, like, is there any voluntary work? Like, what can I do to help younger people and stuff like that? I ended up doing a national investigation study type thing called From Care to Custody with like my local MP. I was very passionate about the fact that when you're in care, they kind of use the police as that emotional unavailable father, and social service is deemed as the emotional unmaternal unnurturing mother. So it's a very like abusive situation to grow up in. And I kept explaining to like my MP and the like directors, children directors in my borough and stuff like that, that they need to stop calling on the police so soon when a child is acting out. And if that child was living in a normal home, they'll just get grounded. Their phone will get taken or whatever. You lot are getting us arrested. I've got to explain convictions on my rap sheet to employers now from situations that happen in our children's home. And it's unacceptable. So I used to go on and on about this.
But what? Like, they're calling police when... I mean, well, that was back then, because I even... For myself now, I'm 100% sure, like, we would only call police if you're not home by your...
That's the missing. That's another conversation with itself.
Yeah, true. But with that, it's like, it's more of a report. It's not even to call Fed to come and look at you. It's just to inform Fed that this person is just not home, and that's about it. But I haven't had ever a situation where I've had to call someone in. But obviously, in your scenario, so let's say if you're being possibly like defiant towards one of the staff members, you're telling me that the staff members will then call Fed and be like...
Yeah, depends what mood that staff member's in. Depends who that staff member is. They can do whatever. I can remember one time they weren't opening the food cupboard. Like back then, they have to lock the food cupboard and stuff like that. And we was all hungry, and we were being boisterous, but we were boisterous kids. We had been through a lot in life. So we wanted sweet corn. We was making like tuna and sweet corn pasta and whatever. And the guy was refusing to open the cupboard and whatever. We was like, listen, mate, we're just going to take your key and we're going to open the cupboard because we're hungry. And we did that, and we ended up getting arrested for theft.
And then that's on your
that's
your
on my
DBS
criminal
right
record, and I got to explain that to people.
Exactly. No, that's crazy.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I kept going on about stuff like that. So then I did this investigation, which is called From Care to Custody.
Yeah. And
basically how they institutionalize us before we get to prison. Because I don't know if you understand the statistics around how many people actually have been in care and are in prison.
Yeah, no, there's someone in my current home that as literally is part of that statistic,
Right.
I'd say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of them ones. It's obviously, I have to say it's not really avoidable, to be honest, because like you said, kind of all the traumas that they've been in, kind of their background, their lifestyle. The most that we could do is just attempt to nurture and attempt to be someone that can hear them, because a lot of them are just they're just suppressing all their emotions. They don't really want to get things out. So when they go outside and do something or whatever, like we can't really try and prevent that. It's the statistic that's quite hard to break at the moment. But I think there could be a slight, I'd say, improvement. I think there is a slight improvement because I'd say in 1 out of the 5 homes that I've worked in or I've been around, there's only one person that's been incarcerated. But obviously, I'm just speaking on behalf of just one. But obviously, the rest have been mad arrest, mad court dates, mad this, mad that. But the things are cutting slowly because what we at least do, like, we wouldn't want to try and sit down and obviously, like you said, that and treat them like children. You know what I'm trying to say? These are, when you're talking 16-plus-year-olds, you can't be out here telling them can't, don't. They're gonna be like, bro, you're not my father. Who the fuck are you to tell me like I can't do this and I can't do that?
Especially when they got the responsibilities of an older person.
Exactly. It's exactly that. So, and obviously, if they got to do their shopping, they got to clean their own room, they got to do this. But what, you only want to step in when I like to intervene. It's not going to work out. So we just at least teach them to just. The main thing with the people that I work with is teach them communication. That's our thing. Just to teach the young kids how to communicate, how to just be civil. Like you said, do tax papers and all them little things there. Like, but we don't do none of that whole, like tell them, oh, you're on a final warning and all them things there. Like, these are youth. These are young. The same way that I was just like them not long ago. So that's what we offer, man.
I think we're evolving as people, and it. As a result of that, the care system has also evolved, but it's going a bit slower than what we hope for the kids and for them to have better outcomes. Yeah. But at the same time, back when I was in care, there was we didn't hear any such thing as like a therapeutic approach, trauma-informed practice. We didn't know about these type of things. Do you get what I'm saying? We just had a bunch of old people who didn't have kids themselves coming into children's homes and trying to I don't know what was going on in their lives or whatever, but it felt like they were taking it out on us. Exactly. And then, like every environment, every institutional environment, there's like maybe one or two that have that sense of, that you can seek identity in, or that you can have a serious conversation with. But then even those 1 or 2 staff members, the system also makes it hard for them to connect with young people.
Yeah,
because they start saying you're not doing boundaries, you're not being professional, you're not this, you're not that.
I've found it in my time that I've worked in schools. There's been numerous times where I've been pulled to the side to be told, "Yo, like you're too much on their side, and you allow them too much." And it's like I'm not bloody. It's not we're not sergeants.
Exactly.
This ain't the army, you know. This ain't cadets. We ain't got to be sitting here telling them, "Yo, like must." It's like they're human beings just like us. They got emotions. That's the thing with people, is that they're not aware how big of a deal and emotions are. Like it plays a big part. Like, just hearing someone, just this conversation we're having here alone, like that's doing a lot for both of us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? So like, people just seem to think it's all about control and respect and it's like they want to conquer so much. I don't know what part of society. I'm sure it's something to do with men, some like along the line somewhere. I don't know what part it's to do with.
I think it's life, you know. I think pecking order.
Yeah.
If you look at everything in life, that everybody don't want to be up at the bottom of the pecking order. So whatever they got to do to have that little sense of feeling like they're powerful, they will do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like badges, for example. You know, you tell someone that, oh, you're now the manager of this. All of a sudden now you're going to try and act like, but you don't have to, you know.
Exactly.
There's that other option, of course. And I was going to ask you, so counting on like throughout majority of your experiences that you've experienced in life, how has that shaped you as a person now?
It's sharpened me. It has sharpened me. It's a big question.
You wasn't expecting that?
Kind of, but not. It's definitely sharpened me as a person.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, you know, a lot of people ask me, oh, if you could go back and change this and change that, would you? I wouldn't. The only thing I would try and change is the relationship that I have with my family and my parents, and trying to understand who they are more, why they made certain decisions.
Yeah.
I would have made more of an effort to do that, because I think that would have helped me keep my sanity at a young age. But other than that, I just feel like a lot of my experiences have sharpened me, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see who I'm going to be when I'm 30.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that like, later, because definitely got a question for that. And also as well, like, I don't know how many people that you'd know that have obviously come out of being incarcerated and then shaped their life around. Obviously, for me, like, the statistics are really, really poor and really low. So, like, my older brother, for example, he was in and out of jail countless times. Not one time was there a lesson that he came out and he was a new person. Also said to a bunch of other like guys that I know. But for yourself, like, I've seen that, of course, you came out and you've done some good in there. You've done some reflecting, came out and you shaped yourself, you shaped your life around. So what would you say, like how's the system, or how's the prison system failing people? Or do you reckon it's the system, or is it the person? Because
it's the system. And I think what we have to understand, the system's not designed for us.
Yeah.
Do you understand? The system makes money from us.
Yeah.
When we go into prison, we work in warehouses, we get paid £7 a week. It's the new slavery.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I think what I was trying to say earlier as well is, like, so many times in my life have I seen crossroads. The first time was in my household. So I said, okay, if I make certain decisions that my mum makes, I'm going to be like her.
Yeah.
So now I was so focused in my teens not to be like her. But still, I still made the wrong decisions because I was so focused on not becoming something, I became that. So I allowed myself to be groomed and exploited. Then when I went into prison, there's girls that are going home Monday. They're coming back Friday. I'm back, guys. They're telling us, this is the only place I have to eat, to sleep. Like, this is the only place I feel safe. This is like a second home to them. The officers know them. It's the norm. So that was like my third crossroad, where I saw, okay, so I can go out and, like, repeat the decisions that I made, stay in a victim mindset, go out and live my life that way, and I'll just end up back here. I could see all the results. Do you get what I'm saying? The one result I couldn't see, if I reached my potential. Nobody around me had reached their potential, so I could see an exit, or I could see a way out. But I always had that sense of hope inside me, and I think I get that from books, from reading. Like, I create my own world.
But you know what's crazy when you're saying about seeking potential? What's mad is that, like, what I find, like, in majority of, like, urban communities is that, like, let's say, like, somebody like myself, I'm just a regular positive youth, you know, go to work, come home, do my shit, pay my bills, and, you know, keep it easy. But I don't get why. Obviously, I do get why, like, my lifestyle is not as, you know, like, flashy compared to a guy that, has got the cars, the jewelries, the money. I get it. But I still don't get why, like, why wouldn't my path, because for example, now my path, what's it got to you? What's it got me? It's got me nothing but, there's a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. Of course, there's bad times, but there's a nice line, no trouble, no nothing. Things are clean, your credit score's up and whatever, you move. But then why would you literally, if you literally know that if you choose to do, the other path of, like, the whole drug selling thing is all good, like, but there's a time in the space, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, so why is it that the people that are actually doing good, like, are not, like, literally let me not say not in the light, but why, I don't get why the youngers don't want to, like, look up to them. It's like I used to wake up every morning, look downstairs from my house, there'll be about fucking 15 people waiting for my older brother to come outside. These 15 people are literally all sheep, clueless. And of course it's like the blind following the blind. Yeah, like, so literally, but then now there's me, regular degular, just mind my business, going to kick ball the man or whatever, come home, but it's me that's like, oh, that's dead. And okay, now we're getting older. Okay, now I'm 21. Now that I'm seeing the same people that grew up that are my age mates, and I'm still stuck in that little bubble, and I'm like, how have you still not come out of that? And of course, you managed, because you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen the commas. I'm sure you've seen the drugs. You've seen it all. But maybe you'll be able to give us a better insight on.
I think I was talking about this yesterday to my friend, but in a different context, in terms of, like, all this stuff that's going around about Daddyless and the young girls and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think we need to be aware and understand our cultural conditioning.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned to be attracted to badness,
Yeah.
dysfunction, all these things that tear down our communities. We are attracted to, and we are the breeders of now. The masters don't have to actually orchestrate these situations no more. It's literally like an experiment. You just put all these people in the cage, and based on the way that our minds are conditioned, we are instantly going to be attracted to a certain lifestyle. But I think there's so many other factors that have to be considered. And I don't know, man, it's glorified. Like, that's why I just try to do my part.